only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer! Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters, where we're going to bring you the news and reviews of some wonderful brews. My name is Dan Baker, as always, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner,
and our from entertainer,
Wayne Baker.
Now, today, we are lucky enough to have somebody in the studio who we've, from what I understand, tried to get on a few times, but this is the first time we've been able to make it. We have with us
Greg Galczynski.
Greg, thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Funny story, Greg actually bailed us out of a sticky situation tonight, so we are extra thankful to you for coming on such short notice, but I'm sure we're going to have a blast.
Oh, that's great. Thanks for having me and, having me part of the first ever Beer Busters Amateur Hour.
Oh, it's not the first.
Oh, you're no amateur. It's not the first.
Thanks, Steph.
Well, we've got a lot in front of us. I'm very excited to get to the beers that we have that are on the table tonight staring me in the face. Actually, they're in a cooler, but I can see them from over here.
Sure you can.
Theater of the mind, Dan.
Exactly. Willing suspended in disbelief. Anyway. All right. So, I've got a list and a story.
Yay.
Nice.
All right. So I'm going to start with the story first because the list, I mean, they're both exciting, but the list I like even more for this time of
Lists
year.
are always exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I mean,
Is this the baseball list?
it is a baseball
I
list.
kind of figured.
Yeah.
I saw this article and I'm like, that'll be on the next
We-
episode of Beer Busters.
We did one last week. To be fair, we did one last episode.
Yeah.
But the first one is, it's kind of fun, and I'm very excited because Colorado's New Belgium Brewery, who we all know and love, they're teaming up with Ben & Jerry's.
Nice.
And they're doing a salted caramel brownie ice cream.
Ooh.
Very nice.
Yes. There's a quote from a press release. At this time, I can confirm that Ben & Jerry's and New Belgium are collaborating to raise awareness around issues we are passionate about and that the results will be delicious, said New Belgium's Director of Sustainability, Jen, I'm going to say it Verviers, maybe Verviers, but Jen said it. Both companies have a history of social activism, and the new project will be no different, according to them. Now, the release doesn't say what the campaign will be about, but Ben & Jerry's senior global marketing manager, Jay Curley, promises it will be impactful. At Ben & Jerry's, they are big fans of New Belgium Brewery, their values, and their fun culture, and, of course, their beer. And they're excited for the campaign that they've developed together. The companies will announce details later on this year, and the beer is set to hit shelves this fall. New Belgium and Ben & Jerry's are both what are called B corporations, which is a certification issued by the private nonprofit B Labs to companies that meet social, environmental, accountability, and transparency standards. Now, New Belgium supports sustainable agriculture, climate change, and other initiatives, while Ben & Jerry's, who is now a subsidiary of a global conglomerate company called Unilever, they stay true to the hippie roots with support for environmental initiatives, fair trade efforts, marriage equality, and more. So, this fall, you can see New Belgium's Ben & Jerry's beer hitting your shelves. I'm excited to see what they name
I was
this
just
one.
going to say no word on a name yet.
No, not yet, but
They should do a beer and an ice cream.
You know,
Well, there is already a beer.
There's
Hey,
already a beer, and they're
there's-
doing an ice cream of it. Is that what's happening?
actually, I have a personal story about the pairing of beer and ice cream into a float.
Oh, yeah?
I've thought about doing that many
Brewery,
times.
I worked out Colorado for a while. They do a creme brulee stout.
Oh.
And they have a food
yeah.
truck that does the flash frozen, fresh made ice cream right on the spot out of their
Nice.
barbecue. They're called Churn and Burn. So they do really awesome barbecue, and they're like kind of punk rock kind of guys and stuff. They're just really great. And then they pair food and ice cream up with whatever brewery they're at that day. And they did, I can't think of the ice cream that they did. They do it with that, what's the gas that they use to flash freeze and make ice cream instantly.
like nitrogen? Liquid
Nitrogen,
Yeah.
liquid nitrogen, thank you. I want to say nitrous oxide, but I knew that was wrong.
Entirely different use.
And but yeah, and it with the creme brulee stout it was, and they put it on, and they're like, next time we come back, and people were making these pint floats with the beer, and it just went over huge.
Wow.
It was just so cool. It tasted really good.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I thought about trying that a bunch of times. In fact, the first time we were at Appalachian when we recorded at the Collegeville location.
Yeah.
I thought about doing that. They had some vanilla ice cream, and I forget what beer I wanted to put it in, but it just sounded perfect
Yeah.
at the time. I'm sure if I go back and listen to the episode again, I might have said it on there. But
I think so, yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
talked about. Yeah.
So the New Belgium beer, it was part of their Lips of Faith series. It was
okay.
one that they did with perennial artisan ales. It was the salted Belgian chocolate stout.
Okay.
And I did
that
get a
sounds
chance
nice.
to share a bottle with my brother over Christmas, and because they get so much New Belgium out there
Yeah.
out west, and it was really good. I can't wait for the Asheville location to open.
Yeah.
I love New Belgium.
Another road trip.
That's
Yeah.
right. As soon as they open down there.
And you never know, along the way, you might be able to stop at Stone's Virginia location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make a whole weekend of it.
Yeah, that
or a
should-
week or month.
That should be
year.
the end of this year, beginning of next
they're
year, I
opening?
think. When they originally made the announcement, I know they wanted to get it a pretty quick turnaround.
Right.
So that should be exciting. I'm sensing a Beer Busters road trip overall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course. Well,
All right, good.
New Belgium is looking to open by the end of 2015. So down in
There you go.
Nashville.
So it might be right around the same time.
Yeah. Christmas trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Assuming I can
Christmas in
get off
Nashville.
assuming I can get off of works. I'll
Works.
quit. You'll quit.
For that. All right, let's get to this list.
All right, so there is a list, and I'll try to make it quick, and I'll make sure we can link it from the website. So Wayne, remind me to send you this link also.
It's your job to do the reminding, buddy.
You know what? When I go back and edit, I will remember and I'll send it to you. So it is a baseball list, as Steph kind of figured out earlier. So last episode, I should say, we had the list of the average price of a beer in ballpark stadiums. Now we have the craft beers that are available in various stadiums across the country. The list on the website I'm on now is from a website called eater.com.
Oh, it's not Thrillist?
No, believe it or not.
Wow.
I know, yeah. There are other websites that are out there that I go to. Half of them might be porn, but
Oh my God. Really?
of course. So let's just go with this. Instead of me going through all of the stadiums, let's just pick a team. You know what?
Fenway.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get to Fenway in a second. I'm gonna
Bias?
start with Citizens Bank Park, assuming I can
Boo.
find it. Yeah, really? Come
Boo.
on. For the region we're in, you have to start off there. So Citizens Bank Park, of course, the Phillies. They serve Omegang Rare Voss, Victory Hop Devil Prima Pills, and they also have Sly Fox Pikeland Pills that are there. In addition to, I know I've gotten, of course, they have Miller, Bud, Coors, whatever.
Yeah.
I've gotten Land Shark there before in my Land Shark days.
Boo.
All right.
I really don't like that beer.
I really don't either.
I'm with you.
Wow.
I'm not-
I wasn't too fond of it, but it was not Miller, Bud, or Coors.
You know who I was really
True.
impressed with? When we were in California last time and we saw an Oakland A's game, we saw the Sox in Oakland, and that stadium, they had a lot of craft beer. They
Good for
impressed
them.
me.
Yeah, it
Impressed me.
we haven't even
me.
opened the bottles yet,
Oh
Chef.
my gosh.
when I
What's
was
going on?
when I was in Seattle, they had some good craft beer there. In fact, when I was there, it was I was in for $5 craft beer night before the second inning, so I had a lot of beers really quickly, and it just so happened that was my birthday also, so it was even better. I had more
yeah.
reason to drink other than being on vacation. All right,
These
Steph
are
wanted-
not these are not complete lists though. I found so I could send the link to Wayne, but
we can cross reference.
yeah, there's only a few listed. I'm wondering, are these like the
beers
top
or-
craft beers?
oh,
These are
these
not
are, yeah.
all of them because I know for a fact that at some of these parks there's more than what's listed.
It doesn't say. Interesting. Well, you asked for Fenway, so Fenway, they serve some of their offerings apparently.
Harpoon.
Harpoon Oktoberfest is one that's listed on here. Goose Island Honkers Ale, Smutty Nose IPA, which is finest kind, and Cisco Brewery Whale's Tail Pale Ale.
What do they
There's
serve?
also
at the-
a Green Monster.
Yeah, I remember.
Green
I think
Monster
last
IPA.
year I might have referenced that one.
I had that.
So yeah, this isn't a complete list, but it's some of the offerings you can find at these various stadiums.
What do they serve at the Canada ones?
Toronto.
Yeah, whatever
can go with
teams are from. I
Toronto.
don't.
Hold on.
Labatte.
The Blue Jays, right?
Yes. Hey, you actually
I knew
you
that.
Yay.
So it is Rogers Center for the Toronto Blue Jays. They have 3 beers from Alexander Keith. The Galaxy Hop Ale, the Holler Tower Hope Ale, and the Cascade Hop Ale. They have Stella Artois, which I didn't know they considered that craft beer in
Yeah, that's
Canada.
weird that it's in that list.
And the other one that's listed as craft beer at this stadium is Labatt Canadian Ale. Well,
Interesting.
Canada apparently has a very different definition of craft.
Please try harder, Canada.
There's actually some good craft beer in the Toronto area. I'm surprised that there's not more in that list.
Yeah. How about another stadium?
Baltimore.
That's the only team.
Baltimore,
from Canada,
there you go.
right?
There's probably a good list at Baltimore.
Baltimore.
I remember years ago when I was a kid, growing up listening to the Baltimore Orioles games, the official beer of the Baltimore Orioles was National Bohemian. My dad and my grandfather used to drink it in the 16-ounce returnable bottles back in those days.
Oh, wow.
So Camden Yards for the Orioles, they have a pretty large list. Oh, I didn't know they had that one there. So, all right, I'll go through from some of the beginning. They've got from Dempsey's, they have Rick's Red Ale, Wild Patch Wheat, Rain Delay IPA, and the 83 Golden Ale. They have Flying Dog, Snake Dog IPA, Underdog Atlantic Lager, Gonzo Imperial Porter, Stone Levitation Ale, Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous Ale, Heavy Seas Loose Cannon, Heavy Seas Cutlass Amber Lager, Heavy Seas Small Craft Warning, Heavy Seas Peg Leg Stout, the Raven Special Lager, Old Dominion Oak Barrel Stout, Dogfish Head Namaste, and 90 Minute IPA. I don't consider this craft, but Shock Top Belgian Wheat, Goose Island Honkers Ale, Fordham Copperhead Ale, New Belgium Flat Tire, Oscar Blues, Dale's Pale Ale, Southern Tier 422 Wheat Ale, Lagunitas Pills, Band of Brewers Third Shift, Anchor Steam Beer, Star Hill The Love. This is the one I didn't know they had. Lancaster Strawberry Wheat, Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, again not craft, Goose Island Sophie Full Sail Session Black Lager, and Evolution Craft Brewing Lot Number 3 IPA.
I just want to interject Wrigley Stadium, which is apparently home to the Chicago Cubs.
Apparently,
which everyone
really,
obviously knows.
second oldest stadium.
Who will win the 2015 World Series?
Yes, according to the Sports Almanac.
Yes.
They have all the beers they have on the list in this article are Goose Island, but the first two are Sophie and Matilda. And
Your
I just want
ladies.
to say, yes, I love my hose. I don't care who their pimp is. I still love my hose.
You're going to Chicago then?
Or you can just go to the bottle shop down the street.
You know what? I'm going to do this. Rich, what stadium do you want me to look up?
San Francisco.
All right, San Francisco. I should probably San Fran for the Giants.
Anchor.
Anchor Porter, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Anchor Steam Beer, Lagunitas IPA, and Trumer Pills. You know what? I'm going to go with Safeco because that's the next one there, but that's the one I was at in Seattle. They've got a very hefty
got
list,
quite
too.
a list, yeah.
I would imagine.
Black Raven, Trickster IPA, Black Raven Session IPA, Ninkasi Vanilla Otis Stout, Northwest Brewing Joker Amber Ale, Fremont Interurban Ale IPA. Interurban IPA, now that I look at it. Iron Horse Brewing Irish Death, Spire Dark and Dry Cider, Stone IPA, Schooner Exact King Street Brown, Pike 5X Stout, Pike Kilt Lifter,
Nice.
Pike Naughty Nelly, 21st Amendment Watermelon Wheat, Seven Seas Port Royal Stout, Full Sail Amber, Victory Prima Pills, Bale Breaker Top Cutter IPA, Rogue Hazelnut Brown Ale, Two Beers EVO IPA, and Diamond Knot IPA. I seem to remember, I think I had Kona out there, and I've gotten, what else did I have? I had Red Hook when I was there too. They had a few Red Hook offerings.
There's a lot of Kona in San Francisco too.
Aha.
They had that on tap at the Giant Stadium.
Well then.
And it's really expensive to park at the Giant Stadium.
Well.
Just saying. I think we paid $15 at the A's and it was $40 at the Giant Stadium.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, just across the bay.
I heard Frisco in general is one of the most
Oh, yeah.
expensive cities to visit, live.
It's an awesome city.
But
imagine.
I heard it's totally awesome, yeah.
You just, I guess, live across the bridge. And
Yeah.
of course, then you got to pay to go across the bridge every time you want to go in the city. Or you could take the transit.
You could, yeah. I'm going to do one more, and then we'll move on because this list is taking a while.
Yeah.
This goes out to our dad, Wayne and my dad.
Oh, the Tigers.
The Detroit
of course.
Tigers in the city that could. We had Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, Founders Porter, Founders Red Rye IPA, and Founders Dirty Bastard.
No bells?
Bell's Two-Hearted
Yeah,
Ale
Two-Hearted.
was the
No,
first
first
one.
one.
Apparently I wasn't
Wilson
listening.
Deaf is
what's
not
the-
listening again.
Brewery that Kid Rock owns. Doesn't he have a brewery?
He owns
I
it.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, it
Really?
was on one of the Guy Fieri episodes of like foods and stuff
Well,
like
that
and-
just seems fitting, the two of them together.
yeah, and he visited the brewery that he started up there. Kid Rock did, and
Beats me.
hires local people and stuff like that. It's actually a pretty cool episode.
Steph seems to be interneting this, so
Yeah,
I guess
I'm
we might be able to
trying.
vamp. Oh, and the lights went on. There went the mood lighting.
He brewed a
Scared the
badass
cat.
beer at Brew Detroit.
Brew Detroit. We'll run with that.
Okay.
If we find anything else out, we can, I can edit.
You can tell us we're wrong at info@beerbusterspodcast.com.
And I'm sure people will. They love to do that.
Yeah, that's true. Welcome to the internet. Well, we that just about does it for the news. Make sure you go to beerbusterspodcast.com to check out the entire list of some of the craft offerings at various ballparks. But the other voice, in case you have forgotten since the top of the episode that we have at the table with us today, that's Greg. Greg, thanks again for coming out for us
Thanks
tonight.
again.
Now, you made reference to a brewery that you worked at in Colorado.
Yes.
So, you're wearing the t-shirt right now. The beer that you brought with you is in that growler, I think I saw. That brewery is Chain Reaction.
Yes, it
out of
is.
Denver, which is awesome. So, how did you get linked up with them?
Okay, well, back up a little bit. I started home brewing, oh God, I don't know how many years ago, but I got into it mainly because a friend of mine and his brother did a kit, and they did some type of a porter, and they fermented it with sour cherry juice, and it just came out. It was amazing.
That sounds delicious.
And I'm like, you guys made this stuff like here at the house? And they're like, yeah. And it just gave me, it's like, this was great because I loved all kind of different beers. And I got tired of paying really good money for, in some cases, lousy beer. And I thought, I might as well make my own stuff.
Yeah.
And I got into it. So fast forward ahead, I moved to Colorado in 2011 to try it out, and the house we rented was right next door to Zach Christofferson, who is one of the two owners and the head recipe formulator, and their pilot system was in his garage. And one day I come home from work and I look over across the lawn, and there's this whole driveway full of people around the garage.
Turns out their mill exploded.
Yeah. Now, a lot of things exploded and went on over there, but not a grain mill. So, I look over, and they've got like this 3 kegs set up, and they're like, they're brewing. So I went over and introduced myself a little shyly, and they're like, yeah, come on over, and start brewing with us. So ironically, 2 of the kegs were Yingling kegs. I'm like, how in the heck did you get these things out? He said they showed up out here in somebody's truck, I guess,
Nice.
But so I started working and brewing with them and talking and learning, and they were telling me that they were in the middle of starting the whole recipe formulation for this brewery, that they had this whole business plan, and they've been brewing with their dads, with Zach's dad from when they were young. He was a construction company, and had friends that rode Harleys, biker friends and stuff like that. When they would come in from out of state to visit and such, and he'd always do a brew for when they were there, and they developed the craft like from an early age, and invited me to start learning and helping with them. And I fell into the assistant head brewer by happenstance, just because they needed somebody. And I was there already, so
When did the brewery actually open?
They opened this past June, so they're coming up on their first anniversary.
Nice.
It's been insanely popular. They've done really, really well, and one of the reasons they are very popular is they have something for everybody. At any given time, they have usually 16 handles going of all their beer.
I imagine that's a
So-
market you got to try and stand out in. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a
That
huge,
was
cradle of
exactly-
craft beer over there. Yeah.
Exactly what their goal was. They were like, there's so many breweries around Denver and in
Yeah.
Colorado, and we've got to make really good beer, and we've got to have a lot of it. And they even delayed their opening, 2, 3, 4 months later than what they really wanted to open, just so they had enough beer on hand. Because too many other times places have opened, they didn't have enough. Next thing you know, they don't have, they maybe have like 2, 3 taps out of 5 or 7.
Right.
Then they're closed a few days. They don't want to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they had plenty of beer on hand. They have 6 flagship beers, 4 seasonals, and then there's always what I was kind of in charge of or helping, or brewing, making, whatever Zach dreamed up or we dreamed up together, and collaboration beers, whatever. But it was always like 6 handles of like one-off, like 2 sixtel batches just off that small pilot system, and they still use it today.
What are some of those creative beers you guys came up with when you were out there?
One of them that has turned into almost a regular beer, I remember, was a cilantro lime serrano wheat beer.
Oh.
Nice.
Whoa.
That sounds
Yeah,
pretty good.
just
That sounds amazing.
One of my beers, it was actually my wife's idea for the recipe, was the lavender. It was started off as a lavender and lemon saison, but then it turned into a lavender and citrus saison.
Was that the
that
one I
sounds good.
tried? One of
Yes.
them? That was delicious.
Thank you. Yeah, and then it was more towards fall. Started doing like a dark saison that had bitter and sweet orange rind and a touch of clove in it. That went over really well. I'm trying to think of what else. Well, that was the smoked. The Polish, that one known Polish beer, because I'm Polish and they wanted to do a Polish beer, traditional style, the Galczynski, which is the smoked wheat beer. It's just a single malt, single hop. They even ordered in Junga hops from Poland.
Nice.
All fresh hops.
That's cool.
So that was some of them that I can recall.
I recently had
remember-
a. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
This is totally.
I've
different.
already asked 2 questions in a row.
I know you just mentioned smoked wheat beer. That's not something I can only think of one that I had recently. It was called Abraxas. It was like a German import smoked wheat, and that was really good. I was thinking I would describe it as like a lemon having sex with an orange while a piece of bacon watched from the shadows.
Wow.
I don't know what to say to that.
No,
I'm
Greg,
usually not at a loss for words.
welcome to Beer Busters. I remember you talking about when Chain Reaction first opened, how they really tried to involve the local community,
Absolutely.
inviting them out for special pint deals if they lived in the neighborhood.
Yes, they are in an industrial strip that is across the street from a neighborhood that is one of the like up and coming, like being rebuilt, kind of restored and refocused with like just all different races of middle class people, and it's just one of them neighborhoods that are coming back to life. And when they put their little sign out front that they were moving into this building and starting to build the bar and doing all the guts of the building and putting the brew system and all that, and people started coming by like, oh my God, a brewery in our neighborhood. Like, this is awesome. This is our place. Like they adopted it. And a lot of the people that, they really know their beer out there. And yes, they involved the community. So if you have an idea for a beer, come in and tell them, hey, we'll work up a recipe and then come in and brew it with us, and we'll name it after you,
That's awesome.
or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
That's
And
what
a
I
lot
want my
of
local
neighbors
brewery
have
to be
done
like.
that.
Yeah.
And then the one thing that was really cool was there's a couple that lived right down the street, right in the neighborhood, and they had an idea. So for their wedding, they wanted all kinds of craft beer, and they were decorating with like white jasmine flowers and stuff like that. And they came to Zach and Chad and said, hey, we got this idea for a beer for our wedding, because they had all kinds of stuff. They had like White Rascal. They had all this great beer at their wedding. And they said, we got an idea. We'd like to do a white IPA with jasmine in it. And I got to brew it with them. Zach came up with the recipe. It came out amazing.
That's
So
pretty awesome.
they were going to make it again and have it at the brewery. And apparently people went crazy over it at the wedding. So yeah, they do a lot of that.
They
A lot
should
of
brew it
that.
every year on the wedding anniversary.
That's,
would be a good idea.
I'll have
That'd
to
be
send
awesome.
them that idea.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, another thing they did too, like education-wise. So for National IPA Week, they did all 6 handles of the one-off stuff. They did the same batch of IPA and split it into 6 different fermenters with 6 different yeasts, so people
Oh,
could
nice.
see
Oh, that's
cool.
how the yeasts changed the
yeah.
flavor profile.
That's pretty
So
cool.
That's awesome.
and people got to see that.
That's neat. So what is the brewing community like out there? I mean, with Denver, the area having over 200 breweries, I mean, it has to be insane.
Plus, it's home to GABF.
Yes.
out
Yeah.
there, which is even better.
It's like this, like sitting here, like sitting around with people, drinking beer. For the most part, like anything else, you have a couple people that are more standoffish or whatever. But for the most part, that's the one thing I miss out there is obviously the gang from Chain Reaction, and then that whole community, because I got to meet so many cool people and people that are famous in the industry. I got to meet Mr. Rodell at GABF. It was like, he was so down to earth and so humble and like hanging out with the small brewers. That's what he was about, and the owner from Boulevard. It was at one of their special releases downtown at one of the little taverns during they did a collaboration together, Odell and Boulevard, with it was a bourbon barrel-aged stout that was amazing. But that whole community going from one brewery to another brewery, and people start to get to know you, you know them. wear your shirt, you buy some of their stuff, whatever. You go in, and it's like, here, it's like, what do I owe you? They're like, nothing. Get out of here. And when they go to your place, they drink.
That's cool.
It's just everybody's like exchanging ideas and talking. It's not like they're standoffish about what's in their recipe or whatever. They're very open, very, very cool. They're almost like the more the merrier. They'll help other people get started.
That's great.
Yeah.
It seems like there's room for, like, every neighborhood almost wants their own little brewery.
Their own little, yeah, just down the street kind of.
So I got to brew with some really cool people out there.
That's
awesome.
Through that happenstance opportunity. So
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
Man, I love being a turtle.
Yes, turtle power. No, there's a special camaraderie that comes with the craft beer community, and just hearing things like that gives me hope for it, that it's not just a local thing, which doesn't sound like it is. That's great. They're just so willing to help everybody out there and just embrace it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's helpful, especially in a place like, we talked about how crowded the market is there with breweries and how dense it is. And I think it's sort of a rising tide raises all boats, or whatever the cliche is, And I think especially in an area like that, you can't be competitive, because I don't think with that, I think that's sort of the environment where it's like, nobody has their one brewery. Like, everybody just wants to go hang out, check out beers and whatever the new thing is from anybody.
If I can give some shameless shout outs, I mean, one of the things is, like, there's some breweries that were all within like a few blocks of each other where we were at, and they all know each other. They're all friends. We're all like, if you like us, you got to go down to Chain Reaction, or like you got to go over, like, there's a heavy metal themed brewery a few blocks away.
Nice.
Called they're really cool. They're called Black Sky Brewing. They make some amazing stuff. And Harry, one of the owners, the head brewer there, all that, he brewed for 16 years for Breckenridge. I got to brew collaboration with him. I mean, that guy's no slouch. He's something. He'll like formulate something on the fly. And they make some really incredible stuff, and have some pretty cool concerts, like right there. Like, they put the band in the middle of all the brew equipment. And they play out to the. Who else? Strange Brewing. We did collaborations with Tim from there. He's awesome. God, there's like so many around. They're like just all within walking distance or bike ride distance, and so. I could go on for forever, but they all support each other really well. They, like, a lot of them get to know each other, support each other, advertise for each other.
How has all of this professional brewing experience now affected you as a home brewer?
I don't know how professional, but I mean, one thing I look back at some of my other beers that came out well, and I'm like, how did this even not get like infected? Or, just learning the cleanliness, the sterilization, just the whole process with all grain. It's helped me. I mean, when I came home, one of the first things I did was, Steph, the system. You christened it for me.
Yep. We'll taste that beer today.
Yep.
Yay! But built like basically a mini Herms, like a 20-gallon Herms system in my basement.
Nice.
Based it off of the pilot system that I was using out there. So it's kind of all the different aspects of just all the fine detail, everything from your sanitizer to temperature to. First thing I did, it's like, no wart chiller. I'm buying a plate chiller, so things like that. It really.
I gotta imagine.
The experience I gained from everyone out there has really paid off at home, I think, so far.
One of those situations where, like, if you've been home brewing for a while, and then you have the chance to be exposed to, to commercial brewing in that capacity and all those different systems and brewers and stuff, you probably realize a lot of things you didn't know that you didn't know.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I imagine it's kind of
like
like
that. Or you thought you knew, but you didn't know.
Found out I knew a lot of nothing.
So did you get to go to GABF?
Yes, I did.
Tell us.
Yeah,
that was just, I mean, again, thanks to Zach and Chad, the whole Christofferson family out there in Chain Reaction. Yeah, I got like the whole like 4-day Brewers Pass. Got to walk around with my badge. I had my cherished baseball hat that says Brewer on it. Got to meet all these great people, and then you get in there early. You walk around. You talk to folks. It's just, I mean, when you walk in there the first time, and it's just like. It's kind of like that scene at the end of the Raiders of the Lost Ark where the guy walks in the warehouse and it's just all the boxes. You walk in and it's like that, but it's just brew tables of breweries from everywhere.
Guarded by top men.
Yeah, yes. And, so I started walking around looking for the East Coast and then the Pennsylvania gang. And then it was like cool because I got to meet Colin. And finally, we're friends on Facebook through you. And then finally it's like got to go over to Golden Avalanche's team. I'm like, Colin, I'm Greg. And he's like, hey. You know,
That's
so I
cool.
got to like introduce like all the Colorado guys to like my Pennsylvania posse, you know, and see all those, you know, the different breweries. Like I think Sly Fox was out there, Weyerbacher. You know, I saw them come in, and you know, yeah. it was-
Both of which Colin has ties to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So both of your worlds collided.
Actually, who's the? Oh, they got it. Was it the Barrel Aged Stout that? From Allentown, they won that gold medal.
The Brewworks.
Yes. No. Oh God, they're right on Hamilton Street. They have two different breweries. Oh
It's not
shoot.
Fegley's?
Fegley's.
Yeah, Fegley's
I was.
Brewworks.
I think it was Mark from Fegley's,
Yeah.
and it was. And you know that beer that won that award. I was drinking it with him that night before. Actually, we all were. And some of the other guys, Klaus, one of the bartenders, who like knows beer like you can't believe, from out at Chain Reaction. Klaus, Brian, the two Brians. There's a Brian Christopherson and Brian Blaney, and we were like, this is like one of the best beers we've had here. This is a medal winner. He's like, oh, get out of here. From your lips to God's ears. Next
then
thing
he
you know,
won.
they announce it the next day, and like we all jump up. We're in our section. We're like, yeah, and like they're looking up at us, pointing, and like, you know. It was cool. It is just such an awesome experience. And then you go to that awards ceremony. You show up at like, what is it, like 10 o'clock in the morning, and they've got all kind of beers on tap and like breakfast burritos. It's like, wow, this is crazy. You know?
Two of the best things ever.
People
Beer
just
and
like
breakfast burritos.
running around drinking beer and eating burritos in the
every
morning
day
already
for the rest
you
of
know?
my life. I'm just gonna do this.
So yeah, the whole experience is just, especially when you start to get to meet some of the big names, and like they talk to you like you mean something.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's really cool.
That's awesome. I am extremely jealous.
We're planning a trip, John Gillespie.
We'll cover it.
Yeah.
We'll go as media.
Yeah. Well, he'll
There
cover
you
it.
go.
We'll go as media, but he'll do all that. We'll just drink.
Hey, John Gillespie, you owe me a growler.
I heard that story.
yeah. Yeah.
We won't embarrass him on
No,
air.
no.
let's not.
I'm glad John's getting to go down to Nashville.
Yeah.
My can is empty.
Yeah, mine
no.
too. I think that means
time
it's
for-
time. All right. So, what do we have up first?
So, Greg, you brought a growler.
I did.
Let's start
Yay.
with that.
That chain reaction growler.
Yes. Sexy looking thing it is too.
Yeah. It's
So-
a saw. It's a picture of a saw, and we said it's
Yes,
sexy.
there is. If people go online and go to their website, www.chainreactionbrewingco.com, the family, his father still has a construction company, and they have done everything from custom homes up in the mountains at the resort towns and everything in Colorado to actually building some of the Disney stores along the East Coast.
Whoa.
So he actually spent some time in like the Philadelphia region, living there while his company was building things. This is Greg Christopherson, the father. But they are all like all the brothers, all the two brothers and Chad, even the head brewer. They work for the construction company, and so the saw blade and the whole thing with chain reaction, like in their life and everything you do, your craftsmanship, and they apply that to quality ingredients, materials, everything in the beer, and caring a lot about your customers and learning from those that help you out. So you are a chain reaction of who brought you up, who taught you to do whatever.
That's
So
cool.
and then your children and your friends, as you pass that on. So that's their slogan on the back. For every action there's a reaction, and for every reaction there's an action. So that's how. And then so the saw blade with the cluster of hops in the middle of it. It's sort of like a show of respect to where they're from and
Yeah.
the craftsmanship and all that.
That's really cool.
And matter of fact, the whole tap room, the bar, everything was done with beetle kill pine from up in the mountains. They have a source to bring, and they mill at their own mill at their
wow.
garage, milled every piece of lumber from beetle kill pine, built everything in the place by hand. I mean, the whole thing is like a craftsmanship, right
That's pretty
there.
awesome.
Wow.
So let's get this beer going.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan to me. So what is the beer then?
This beer is
Here, you
a...
can just pass the growler. We can pour
Okay,
on.
cool.
Make it easier, then you can talk.
Yes. And I can drink.
Yes, even better.
So this is, I guess, the fourth beer that came off of the system that I built when I came home. And this is an idea my son-in-law had, who has started brewing, and him and my daughter make wine. And he's been doing some nice beers now, and he got this idea. He said, let's do a single malt, single hop, like a smash IPA. So it's basically just all Maris Otter with just a little bit of like dextrin, carapils, just to kind of bring it all together. And then it's all Cascade hops at different intervals. And we actually did a first wort hopping with it. I actually, on my phone, where I have it way away from me, but I have our hop additions. But we did like 6 different hop additions. And actually, after 2 weeks in fermenter, we also dry hopped it.
Nice.
So, and it's done with the Belgian, the white yeast, White Labs 550.
I love the fruitiness that the Belgian yeast gives it. It's unexpected, but it's nice. You get the nice bready malt, and the hops are coming more floral and herbal to me.
That's what we were after.
The nice fruity yeast.
I like that.
Nice.
Belgian yeast
And it's not
character
like
there.
a
That's
smack you
nice.
in the mouth kind of over the top hoppy kind of IPA.
No, it's super drinkable.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
Woohoo.
And there's almost a little slight bitter punch of, like, I don't know if it's the hops and the malt coming together, and like a sharp like roastiness in the background. That's really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're happy with it.
It's really quick and subtle, right at the end.
Right at the very end.
Yep.
So
But
we're trying for something that we call like our sort of like house IPA. So little dumb names we've given our little breweries, both at his place and my place. So I'm Laureldale Libations because I live over in Laureldale, and he went with it's a long story, but it's called, his last name's McNabb, and it's called Lazy M Brewing. But there's like a whole other story about old neighbors of theirs griping at him about not cutting their grass enough and being lazy, and so.
So do you have a name for this beer, or are you just calling it Smash?
Right now I think that he was calling something like Simply Smashing IPA or something like that.
Simply Smash.
I let him
Simply
do the names.
Smashing.
I kind of
I
like
like that.
I'm like with Chain Reaction. They really don't name their beers because they don't want to get into naming conflicts with people. It's like, here's our IPA, here's our Saison, here's our, so I don't know, maybe we'll name it, maybe we won't.
I call it Lazy Laureldale Simply Smashing.
There you go.
I like really
That's
long, complicated.
sounds it,
names.
yeah. You can know if somebody's over the limit that way. If they can't say the beer they're drinking anymore, they're cut off.
Smashing Laureldale.
Smashing Laureldale. Smashingly Laureldale.
Yeah, then I got to be careful if I do a pumpkin ale because then I'll be getting in trouble with a band that I like.
Smashing Pumpkin Ale.
Speaking of, you had mentioned, I forget, where was it, the brewery that has Smutty Nose on tap?
Oh, it was one of the ballparks.
Not in Boston because Smutty Nose is up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, or something like
probably
that.
was Fenway.
I think one of the best pumpkin ales I ever had was Smutty Nose Pumpkin Ale.
I don't know that I've ever had that one.
I don't think I've had it.
Yeah, it really impressed me.
I don't know if it was just you saying right when you said about the smash that like it has that something about grass, I got a really grassy, earthy taste out of it right as you said that. So I don't know if it was a mental thing or not, but
It is
just,
like that nice herbal.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that's what we were after.
And you said it was Cascade hops?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Steph is struggling to open another growler. You can do it. You got this. You got this.
Come on, Muscles.
I was like, well, we could start passing this one around a while we finish the conversation about this one.
And then,
By the way, this
Turned into a hole.
finished out at 7.3.
What?
oh, did it really?
Wow.
Oh,
No.
wow. Maybe we should slow down a little. It doesn't taste it.
Forgot to tell you that.
I do find
No,
that
it doesn't.
A get you drunk
it doesn't.
house IPA.
the hop character gets a little more potent as I think it warms up and you get a little further down in
Yeah.
it.
Wow.
It's really nice.
So Steph, this growler that you couldn't open, what is in this growler?
So this was the first beer that was brewed on Greg's system. I got to be the guinea pig. Greg invited me over the first time he was working the system.
Yes, and that open invitation stands.
Oh, I'll come over all the time. It was a lot of fun. But of course, I had to do something with peppers, and we did a.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, we did a smoked bach, and we added chipotle peppers and
course.
chilies de arbol. Well, I just come home from New Mexico, and I had a half of a suitcase.
So you
of
were in a
peppers.
spicy mood, like you're ever
I'm
not.
always in a spicy mood. But we took a traditional Bach recipe and added some smoke malts to it to give it that wonderful smoky bacon flavor that we love. And at the end of the boil, we added 2 ounces of chopped dried chipotle peppers with the seeds, of course, and 4 chopped dried chili de arbol with the seeds. And then what I did is I infused more of both of the kinds of chilies into vodka And then once it got to secondary, I added the chilies, and then I kind of let this sit for a while. We brewed this in January, right?
Wow.
And
Yes.
it is now the middle of April, and I just carbed it. It's been a little busy, but I think letting it lager for as long as it did really mellowed it out, and I'm really happy with the flavor, the smokiness. It's not too spicy. It's drinkable. It's not Steph hot.
No,
So
it's not.
you've brewed 2 beers this year so far, right?
Yeah, the 2 I did with Greg.
3 beers then.
What else did I brew?
Boobies.
Oh, at Boobies.
Oh, the
yeah.
habanero.
Yeah. So
Yes, I've
you're-
homebrewed 2 and professionally brewed 1.
Okay, so you're 2 for 3 spicy.
Yes,
Okay.
and only because the other one was his recipe. I didn't have a hand in that one, so.
And I gotta say that one that you gave me, that habanero Rausch beer that you made when you gave me, oh my,
Oh, was that
that
the
was nice. Oh, wow.
Smoke the coals.
Stoke the
Stoke the
coals.
coals.
Stoke the
coals.
coals. Yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Smoke
the
those
coals.
coals.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited
I
to
like
try this.
this.
I
This is
haven't gotten to
nice.
sip it yet.
It has a really awesome aroma, and what I like about it is when you drink it, like as far as the heat, it feels like for a second I was like, oh, geez, here we go. My throat's gonna be burning, but then it mellowed out right away.
Yeah.
like
It
it
does.
feels like it kind of teases you, like this is gonna be really hot. No, it's not.
But the heat didn't hit you right at first. Like it, at least when I took the sip, it was there. It was okay. This is light,
And then it starts
and then
to-
there's the heat. But then, like you said, it goes away.
It starts to smolder, but then it dissipates.
Yeah,
which
and
I
then
like.
you get that smokiness in the back end.
I like that, just that light hint of smoke on the aroma, but it gets you almost like later on the back of the palate.
Yep,
Like you get the
yep.
peppers first, that light sort of caramely to me, not or roasty.
like a roasty caramel.
Yeah, and then the peppers come in. Then that smoke kind of comes in afterwards, kind of up like the back of your nose. It's
Yeah.
nice. I like that.
Yeah, like it's almost like
I like that you didn't overcarb it either.
You said this
Yeah, I
were
don't
dried
like to-
peppers?
Yeah, dried.
Because you get
Smoked
like that
and dried.
that sort of dry,
Yeah.
like almost like sun dried kind of.
And I was a
character
little
to it.
worried that the malt backbone wouldn't be there. We did have some mashing issues. I mean, the first time on a new system, you're going to, we were not at temperature. We were, we ended up doing a step infusion mash just because we didn't have
Just
any
out
other
of necessity.
issues because it just didn't. I mean, and whatever. It's
And I
going to be
also-
drinkable.
Yeah.
Relax, don't worry, have a homebrew, as Charlie Papazian would say. But I'm really pleased. And when I tasted it, when I moved it from the primary to the secondary, it actually was pretty hot. And I was light-handed with the amount of the vodka I added in the secondary because the vodka was extremely hot.
I'm sure.
And I knew the beer was already hot. But I almost wonder if I would have carved this 2 months ago, what it would have tasted like. I'm sure it would have been different. But it's nice to make a beer that has chilies and celebrates chilies, and people will actually drink.
This is sort of like an intro to Steph beers.
It's true because it's not too smoky and it's not too
That's right.
hot,
It's-
and those are two
both of
things
those
I
things
love
that
about
you like
beer.
to dial up to
for-
11, but it's kind of
A Bach, it's not like real heavy.
Yeah.
It's like this is like you could drink this with like some kind of barbecue, like on the deck during the summer.
Yeah.
More than one of them.
And it has the lager crispness that you want from the Bach.
What did this finish
Style.
at?
I don't remember.
Just
Yeah,
make
a
up a
rough
number.
idea.
I found the printout email that you had given me with the recipe, but I don't know where I put the numbers. I've been tearing the house apart.
Let's just
They're
go
somewhere.
5.2.
Okay, I have to admit this. The one thing that I did not take from the Brewers Guild was the organization of recipes. Most of my recipes are written on the back of homebrew store receipts or on Post-it notes. I am not good
Joint-
at
and I'm-
organizing
I'm
my
there.
recipes,
I've-
or like in the homebrew book. Like if I'm using kind of
Like
a
in the
base of one of
margins.
Charlie's
Yeah.
recipes, I am so bad.
Well,
I'm so organized with everything else, but
when my son-in-law has been over brewing with me at my place, he's the one like on Beersmith right away, which I have on my laptop.
Yep.
He's the one putting everything on Beersmith, and I'm over with my notes with my printout and like
Post-it note.
like putting them in like a folder, and he's like, "Dude, I put it on Beersmith."
Yeah, I know. It's in the 6-7 range somewhere, but it's on a Post-it note or napkin somewhere in my house.
somewhere in your house.
So that's why,
Nice.
and it's called Hot Damn, by the way.
Yes, it is.
I always wanted to call a
Hot
beer Hot
damn.
Damn. So that's
And
what
now
I
you
wanted.
did.
So we hope you enjoyed this at the
Yeah,
Homebrew Fest
we-
on the 26th.
We will be, or did for when this airs.
Will
but
and have been.
Depending
Will
on
and
your
have been.
understanding of the space-time continuum.
serve this at the Homebrew Fest at Federal Tap
Pepper,
House during
yeah.
Harrisburg Beer Week. So we're not entering it because I'm judging. So
Yeah.
it would be unfair for me to enter a beer when I'm judging the competition.
5 stars.
But it's still fun to share beer. And we did, Will, take the mini Randall Jr. and
Oh, of course.
we'll take some fresh
of course
dry
we did,
chilies.
Will. Yeah,
Yeah.
of
Of course
did,
we
Will.
did. Will.
That's
Well, I have a reputation.
What did Will have to
so
say about that?
Yes, and you have to uphold it because some of us that like the pepper beers, you have to
I have to live up to that.
Yes.
So if you want to drink a drinkable hot beer, here you go. If you want the heat, then we'll run it through the Randall.
By the way, Randall is probably my next project
Nice.
at the basement.
I can't wait.
Laureldale Libations tap room.
Yes. Nice. All right. So those are the 2 of the first 4 beers brewed at Laureldale Libations.
Yay! If those are 2 of the first 4 off of this system, I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Cool.
But for now, Wayne has some stuff to do, and I think the rest of us are part of it.
I gotta do something now.
Yeah.
Party on, Wayne.
There it
Party on
is.
Garth.
Welcome to the only podcast trivia game made with 100% hand-picked, all-natural certified organic electrons. Happy Funtime Games is brought to you in part by the letter 56 and the number Q. Today, we return to fan favorite, the continuation of the beer education of the Beer Busters Nation, that is libation or fabrication. And you know how this works by now. I will tell you the name of the beer. It could be real. I may have made it up in my twisted brain parts. And you guys will have to guess whether it's true or false. And we begin, of course, as always, to my left.
I just stopped fighting it.
With
There's no sense in fighting it.
And our first beer tonight, tell me, is this beer real or fake? This beer is called the Great Big Kentucky Sausage Fest.
Wow.
Is that a real or fake beer?
I'm trying to figure out what style beer that would be.
It could be a
And
smoked beer.
That's what I'm figuring. But
Could be a lot of things.
My mind just went wrong places. Where
of course it did.
It usually does when you play this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with fake. That sounds like you.
Dan is going fake, says it sounds like me. Not sure how to take that. Steph, what do you think? Is that real or fake?
Real.
Steph is saying real. And finally, Greg, what do you think?
Oh, I'm going with Steph on this one just because
Oh,
it's
crap.
so wacky. It has to be.
That's what I'm thinking.
Wacky. It has
craft
to
beer.
be real.
Damn it.
Well, Dan, you are the only one at the table who is wrong because it is in fact a really real beer. It is a hoppy imperial brown ale, in case you were wondering, by Against the
I
Grain
was.
Brewery
Hey.
in Louisville, Kentucky. That's right. It was a collaboration
Louisville.
beer
Louisville.
in Louisville, Kentucky. Collaboration beer first brewed in Kastrup, Denmark at Amager Brewhaus. It was recreated at Against the Grain for your drinking pleasure. Apparently, the collaboration included an impromptu hot dog eating contest. However, a beer was indeed brewed in between all the trash talk and wieners. It was designed to go with hot dogs in particular and other spicy and smoked foods. Great Big Kentucky Sausage Fest. Really real beer. Finally, we move on to Steph for our next beer, and this beer is called Alimony Ale.
Real.
Is that real or fake? Steph says real. Greg, what do you think?
I don't know. Going with Steph's been a winner so far. I think I'm going to say real.
Agreeing with Steph is usually a good idea. We'll see if it pays this time. Dan, what do you think?
She answered far too quickly, which makes me think that it is definitely real.
Definitely real. Good poker
I should have
face.
paused.
Good poker face, Steph. Yes, it is real, which Steph obviously knew ahead of time, and she did not hide very well.
And how many of them did you have when you were there?
It's a self-styled bitterest brew in America. It's an American IPA by Buffalo Bills Brewery, which I approve of because of the alliteration. In Haywood, California. It was first produced in 1987.
Wow.
Nice.
Good year.
Yeah, when something else was produced at the table. My brother Dan.
Yes.
For a customer going through a divorce. Alimony Ale was one of the first craft IPAs. It gained cult status after articles appeared in Newsweek and Playboy. It's irreconcilably different.
If it's been published in Playboy.
Moving on to our third beer, and Greg's going to go first to guess on this one.
Okay.
And this beer is called Irish I Was a Little Bit Lager.
Wow.
I love it.
Is that real or fake?
From the name, I'm going to say real.
You're going to say real. All right, Greg's saying real. Dan, what do you think?
I'm gonna go fake.
Dan is going fakey fake. And finally, Steph.
It better be real, or I am making a dry Irish stout called
It
that.
better
Yeah,
be real, or
steal
you're
it.
making it. It is not real. It is fake.
Ooh,
it is
there you
not
go,
a
Steph.
real beer.
Our first Irish.
Irish I Was a Little Bit Lager. I will also always wonder what a rabbit in a hat with a bat has to do with a 6'4" Impala. The world
It's gonna be in my head forever now.
will never know. And we spin around.
Wait, what?
Back to
You
Dan.
don't know the song? I wish I was a little bit taller.
Nope.
I wish I was a baller.
Nope.
Wow. So
I
that
wish I had a girl that looked good and
I
I'd
would call her. I wish I had
and
a rabbit in a hat with a bat and a 6'4" Impala. I wish I was like 6'9" so I could get with Miyoshi because she don't know me, but Yoshi's really fine. That song.
You were like 2 seconds away from your mic getting turned off.
I didn't know whether to start scratching like on the top of the table or.
Wicca Wicca. All right. So my brilliance was completely lost on you because you don't know that song. All right, well, tell me, is
It
this
would only
beer...
be your brilliance if you wrote the song.
No, I wish I was a little bit lager. That's awesome.
It's totally awesome.
See?
I
Totes
guess
amazing.
it can't be a dry Irish stout if it's a lager.
Yeah, I was
Irish.
It's gonna
struggling
be a
with
wet
that, yeah.
Irish stout. Ha cha cha cha. Anyway,
It was inspired by Irish Stout, and I was like, but it has to be lager. So, Dan, tell me, is this real or fake? This beer is called Doppelganger Doppelbock.
real.
Dan is saying real. Steph, what do you think?
Real.
Steph is also saying real, and then finally, Greg.
Real.
Reels all around, and everyone is absolutely correct. I actually thought this was fake. I came up with the name, and then I Googled it, and lo and behold, it's a real.
I
real
believe
deal.
I've had that.
Really?
Yes.
It's a 7.45 ABV Doppelbock by Lucky Labrador Brewing in Portland, Oregon. You may be interested to know that the word
I've had it.
doppelganger is a loan word from German consisting of the two substantives, doppel meaning double and ganger meaning walker or goer, and the Vesuvian doppelganger was the most valuable Magic the Gathering card I ever owned.
That's not what I thought ganger meant.
And we flip over to Steph to tell me, is this beer real or fake? Continuing in the German theme, Helles in a handbasket. Is that real or fake?
Ooh, that's another one I'm stealing. Well, I'll say it's real.
Steph is saying that one's real. Greg, what do you think?
I think it's real. That sounds pretty good.
All right, also saying real. Finally, Dan.
I'm gonna buck the trend. Fabrication.
Dan is saying fabrication, and bucking the trend is a good idea this time because that is fake.
There you go,
This
Steph.
beer is a lie. Well,
Yes,
actually,
I have 2 new beers.
caveat. I Googled this one
Will
too.
you make them with me?
Absolutely.
Hey.
I've realized that Googling fake beer names I come up with is probably a good idea because sometimes they turn out to be real. And it is, in fact, a homebrew that somebody made.
That's
out there somewhere.
We can
But
still
the
steal it.
official Happy Fun Time Games Encyclopedia of Rules and Regulations, Volume 6, Entry 42, under libation or fabrication, Paragraph 3, Subsection Q, clearly states that homebrews are not permissible. And so it remains fake. Our 6th and final beer.
And Jesus wept.
Greg is going. Greg is going to guess first on this beer. Our last beer today is called Baron von Awesome. Is that real or fake?
Oh, God. I've said real for so many of them.
In fact, you've said real for all of them.
Yeah,
Looking
and
at the chart.
I've been doing pretty well. So, Baron von Awesome.
Baron von Awesome.
I don't want to drag this out, so I'm going to go with real.
All right, going with real. Dan, what do you think?
I think it sounds too vague to be real. I'm going with fabrication.
Too vague to be real. Not sure I follow your logic, but
I'm
whatever.
saying real because you're too lazy to come up with 3 fake beers.
Wow. That's
It's a
a
hefty
very, very good strategy because that is real, and
Damn
I am
it.
too lazy
Wow.
to come up with 3
How
fake
well
beers.
does she know
No,
you?
it's
There's a
episode
few
57,
where they've all
she
been
knows.
real.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, I
been a
remember
few
that.
where they've all been real because I'm really lazy. Wow. But that one's real. It's a 5% ABV wheat beer by Peace Brewery and Pizzeria in Chicago, a brewery which has appeared on Libation or Fabrication before, though the beer it was, I don't recall, and I can't be bothered to look up at the moment.
Fair enough.
So, that was our last beer, and I'm going to add
Wait, was that
up
the name of the
points.
actual beer?
I think it was.
That would be an awesome
Yes,
beer.
it would be. To see who
That's 3
Actually,
beer names.
our
It
big
kind of reminded me, just like the way you
winner
said
is
that.
today.
Oh, God, I forget the name of the brewery out in... Wits End, I believe it is.
Oh, yeah?
It was a small one. It wasn't far from us, and they actually won an award for their Jean-Claude Von Blonde.
Yes.
Nice.
Very nice.
I
Very
love
nice.
it.
Very nice blonde ale. Yes, they actually won a medal for it at GABF this year.
Nice.
There was an article I got a lot of beer names from for this game that was all about the craziest beer names from GABF this year. Yeah,
Yeah, there's some
really,
good
really
ones.
good ones on there. Yeah,
I think we all tied.
my favorite one from that article
I think we all tied.
Oh shit.
was German Sparkle Party, and yes, we have
German sparkle party.
a three-way tie.
Oh, what's the sparkle party?
We have a 3-way.
We have a
Sparker's
three-way
Canal.
tie. We have a three-way tie is what a German sparkle party is. it's slang for a three-way tie. So we have a German sparkle party with
wait,
4 points apiece. Everybody got
No
4 out of 6.
shootout? No.
Do we don't say shootout.
I will. Whoever can tell me a beer that was mentioned earlier in the episode that appeared on a previous game of Libation or
The
Fabrication.
one you just said.
No, before we started playing the game.
Oh. German Sparkle Party.
The name of a beer.
A beer that we talked about?
What beers did we talk about?
The Belgian salted chocolate stout?
No.
No, nobody's gonna get it. It was Irish Death.
Damn it.
Irish Death.
I don't remember that.
Irish death upon you.
Yeah. So the tie stands. The Sparkle Party continues.
remember what we did in the old days of ties? Like way, way, way back when.
We had an online
We
poll.
arm wrestle?
Should we outsource to the internet?
No,
No. Sorry.
I'll take a tie.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to stand for ties, but in the meantime.
Know your beers.
And Steph.
So this episode, we're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite beer styles, not only to drink, but also to brew. The Rauch beer, or smoked beer. A historical specialty of the city of Bamberg in the Franconian region of Bavaria in Germany, beechwood smoked malt is used to make a Märzen-style amber lager. The smoke character of the malt varies by maltster. Some breweries produce their own smoked malt, called Rauch malts. Rauch beer literally means smoke beer in German. The intensity of the smoke character can vary widely. Not all examples are highly smoked. The aroma of a Rauch beer is a blend of smoke and malt with a varying balance of and intensity. The smoke character can seem smoky, woody, or bacon-like.
Yay!
The malt character can be somewhat rich, toasty, or malty sweet. Rauch beers are typically very clear, with a large, creamy, rich tan to cream-colored head, and they range from a medium amber, light copper color to dark brown in color. The flavor generally follows the aroma pretty much, with a blend of smoke and malt in varying balances and intensities, but they always complement each other. Malt flavors are toasty and rich, and the smoke flavor can be low or high. At the higher levels, the smoke can get that bacon-like character. The palate can be somewhat malt, rich, sweet, yet the finish tends to be medium dry to dry, with the smoke character sometimes enhancing the dryness of the finish. The aftertaste can reflect both malt richness and smoke flavors. The mouthfeel is typically medium-bodied with medium to medium-high carbonation and a smooth lager-like characteristic. The character ingredients you will find are the German Rauch malt, the Beechwood smoked Vienna type malt, which typically makes up 20 to even 100% of the grain bill, depending on the brewery, with the remainder being German malts typically used in a Märzen. Some breweries adjust the color slightly with a bit of roasted malt, and a German lager yeast is used. German or Czech hops are added. A Rauch beer is like a Märzen, but with a balanced sweet smoky aroma and flavor and somewhat darker in color. So the process of using smoke malts more recently has been adapted by craft brewers to other styles, notably the porter and usually strong Scotch ales. German brewers have traditionally used smoked malts in a Bock, much like the one Greg and I brewed, a Doppelbock, a Weizen, a Dunkel, Schwarzbier, Helles, Pilsner, and other specialty styles. Again, for the beer that Greg and I brewed together, we used a traditional Bock base with smoke malt added. Some commercial examples of a traditional Rauch beer are the Schlenkerla Rauch Bier Märzen, Kaiserdom Rauch Beer, Eisenbaum Dumfada, oh my god, my German used to be good, Defumata, I don't know, and Victory Scarlet Fire Rauch Beer, which I have had. So my Know Your Beer segments don't normally come with props, but I actually had a bottle, which I typically do, of Schlenkerla, the Rauch Bier Märzen, in my fridge, so why not pull it out and actually analyze what I was just telling you about. So as you can see by holding it up, it is very clear. It's more on the darker copper side,
Yes.
and we have a more creamy, like a tan-colored head.
I love
Yeah,
that
we all
smell.
smell.
what
Awesome.
a nice smoky aroma.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
that's what you want from this. This is the quintessential German Rauch
yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
I mean, this
This
is brewed in Bamberg.
This
It's
is
where
like-
the style
yeah,
was
exactly.
born.
Oh, it's so good.
Smells like you're standing by like a real wood smoker grill.
But you still get the malt. The malt is still there.
Isn't this your brother's favorite beer?
It is.
Good
And
choice.
It's one of
Good
mine
choice.
too.
I get a smoked caramely, just
It's the balance
Yeah.
of the smoke and the malt.
And the malt, yeah, you get that nice meaty
the bacon
smokiness.
flavors. Yeah, this is how a vegetarian gets her meat. That's
Yeah,
why I
and
love
that
this
is-
style
it
so
all
much.
brings in a little-
definitely almost like a touch of bacon.
Yeah.
there.
And then it
I want
dries
a
up.
BLT now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
That would be perfect.
It kind of is.
Yes, it
'Cause you
would.
got to get
It
like
would
the
be a
bacon
great
with the
beer
smoke,
with
and then,
like
with
a-
the
like a
malty characters, kind of like the
BLT
bread
made on
and
like
the-
some good like
Oh, yeah.
seeded rye bread.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get
Or
that
even a good
tartness with
Bavarian
it.
pretzel with
Yeah.
some spicy
Yes.
horseradish mustard.
Spicy
That would be great.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yes. Did you know?
Oh,
I
here
actually
we go. It's been a while since you did that on an episode.
Not that
Did
long.
you know?
Did you know?
No, I actually just thought of this as you were going through. I actually recently read that at one time, like all beers were pretty much smoked beers because that's how they dried the grains. Like they had this because they didn't have modern kilning methods or whatever. So most beers at one time had that smoky character, and it wasn't like a specialty. And then as unsmoked grains became used, the smoked grains were kept as like the Rauch beer style, and in Bamberg, Germany, and there was like one or two other cities where it was like they kept that using that method, and that's kind of where Rauch beer was born.
Another smoked beer that I really love is Alaskan Brewing, their smoked porter, which a friend of mine, Missy, I know that's one of her favorite beers. Brian also loves that beer. I love that beer. I might actually have a bottle of it somewhere upstairs. But another really, really great version of the style. It's just neat how the smoked malts bring a different layer to different beer styles. I mean, there are a lot of similarities between the Bock that Greg and I brewed and this because of those smoked malts, but they're also two very different beers in color, in flavor. Well, and I put
And
peppers in this,
the
but-
house smoked porter we recently had at Golden
Yes,
Avalanche.
Golden
That was-
Avalanche.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
love that beer.
Absolutely
I think that's one of
delicious.
my favorite beers that Colin has brewed.
Yeah,
And
that was awesome.
I've got to get there.
That was really good.
Yes, you do.
Thursday.
yes,
There
hopefully
you
it's
go.
still on tap because it is super
Speaking
good.
of the smoked beers, that was the collaboration that I did with Tim from Strange Brewing.
Nice.
It was a smoked red ale.
Oh.
We used the
Oh,
same.
Wow.
We used the same Wireman's lightly oak smoked malt from Germany as part of the base, and that was one of the beers that actually got named. Tim named it because it was with Strange Brewing and Chain Reaction. He named it Chain Smoking Stranger.
Nice.
And
That's-
it,
Nice.
it,
I like
it went over huge.
That works.
Very good.
Interesting.
Love it.
You mentioned commercial examples. Victory Scarlet Fire Rauch beer. I love Victory beers, and I've never had that.
I've never heard
Yeah,
of it.
I've had it.
Yeah.
I've had it at the brewery. It's definitely more on the medicinal side
Oh,
of the
really?
smoked beers, which aren't my favorite. I
No, I
prefer
wouldn't. Yeah,
the
that's not
more
mine.
smokier ones, but it's a good beer. Yeah.
I'll definitely have to try that.
On the medicinal side.
Yeah, there are some smoked beers that
Give you
taste
that
very
sort of,
medicinal.
like cough syrupy-ish,
yeah.
or like even like root beer-ish.
Yeah.
One more spoon of cough syrup now. Hello. Okay, I'm done quoting songs. Let's do this.
Beer me! Beer me! Beer me! Beer me!
So I recently spent a weekend in Washington, D.C., and of course, whenever I travel, I need to look for breweries I've never been to. And we visited a brewery called 3 Stars Brewing Company, which is in the northern part of Washington, D.C., and sort of you go through a residential area and then you're kind of in a industrial area, but the brewery shares a space with a church, and I don't know, it's weird, but it's awesome. So 3 Stars Brewing Company was founded by Dave Coleman and Mike McGarvey. They are longtime friends and home brewers who wanted to bring more high quality beer to the District of Columbia, and they actually not only opened the brewery, but there's also a homebrew store in the brewery, which is really
How cool is that?
That's cool.
So it's one-stop shopping. In fact, the 2 guys I was sitting with at the brewery, one of them was from Philadelphia, so it was kind of cool that we could talk about Philly breweries. But he came and he was buying a crap ton of homebrew supplies and also was there to drink beer. So it was really neat. And the other guy that was there,
My kind of supermarket.
I know, right? Where you just spend way too much money. But apparently it was also a release day. There's a special club that you can join there, and you get first dibs on some special release beers. And they had some sort of a magical barrel-aged concoction that I saw. I'm like, what are all those black bottles, and why am I not allowed to buy one of them at the bar? And apparently you had to be a member of their club. But of all the breweries I visited over the weekend, of the new ones, this was the one that most impressed me. The brewing spot is really cool. I'm wearing their T-shirt. It has this really cool.
Oh, it's like the
That's
Dia
cool.
de los
Mexican
Muertos.
sugar skull.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love that type of artwork. That's cool.
I'm
That is
really
cool.
attracted by their design, their logos, and the beers were really, really good. So the first one that we're going to open up,
I'm excited for this one.
yes, is Peppercorn Saison. Wayne, do you mind shooting off the notes while I get the bottle out?
Absolutely. It's a 6.5% farmhouse style ale. It's brewed with green, white, and pink peppercorns, so a whole array of peppercorns. Dry, earthy finish.
Hershey.
It's got an earthy finish and a touch of
very Hershey.
a touch of yeasters, yeasty esters. When I do it on purpose,
Hershey and
when I do it on
yeasters.
purpose, it's not
And
as good.
esters.
And peppery spice. So I'm really excited to try this because I love me some saisons, and peppercorn sounds like a really interesting.
One
When
of my
I saw
favorite styles.
I saw the notes on this, I thought it was the popcorn saison, and I was confused and hopeful. But now I
One
like
of those
this peppercorn.
flavors you don't want in your beer.
Hey, I don't know. I love
Usually.
popcorn.
Usually.
I worked at a movie theater theater for years. Popcorn's part of my blood.
Interesting. I'm really interested to try this because one of the flagship beers at Chain Reaction that is like their top or tied for their top seller is their pink peppercorn saison.
Oh, nice. It's
And
very effervescent. It nice golden color with lots and lots of bubbles. A fluffy white head, but the head has a lot of bubbles in it. A lot of bubbles.
Yeah, I did a bad pour, so mine's got more.
One
He did
thing,
it like
I don't know how many
one-handed with the
people
glasses.
listening realize
That's how I do.
peppercorns are actually really not always peppers. Like the pink peppercorn is actually in the berry family.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if I knew that.
So is
Get
is
that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm
Jeez.
Sorry.
But are peppercorns like the pink and the green, like they're related? They're
I think they
like
are.
they're not
I mean,
just- you
now
just call
you're
it a, you know.
getting out of my area of
Yeah.
expert. I just
curious,
learned
yeah.
through some of the spice vendors, from out there in Colorado that
Mm-hmm.
the pink peppercorns and through Chain Reaction that they're actually in the red berry family. They're actually not, but they're real tiny and have that like dark red berry flavor.
This beer is so up your alley.
Yes, it is. I love this.
Up my alley and down my gullet. This is really great. I like this a
this is
lot.
awesome.
It has. I don't even know how to start describing it. It's kind of like a,
Touch of sweetness, a touch of funk, a
Little
very-
citrusy
Yes.
character.
But, yeah,
but it all
Little bit.
rounds out into one.
it's
hell of a
everything you
beer.
want from a saison.
Are
Yeah.
you
Yes, it
getting
is.
like at the very end, like that tart, almost
Yeah.
like a borderline sour kind
Yeah.
of, but yet it goes
You
in
know-
sweet and
I'm actually not getting that.
really.
Little
Yeah.
bit.
Drink more.
Yeah.
Okay, don't mind if I do.
Drink more. You don't got to tell me twice. This is really, really
I'm
good.
not
you
sure
kidding?
what the peppercorns are bringing to the table.
Something.
I almost wonder, is it like this blend of peppercorns? Are you getting almost like a touch of like some type of citrus rind?
I am getting a little
that
bit
I
of
get,
citrus.
and
yeah.
I don't know if that's from the peppercorns.
It could be.
Yeah, but there is something to it. Like it's not just a citrusy, grassy, saison. Like there is a
There's
little
something else.
there, and that's probably the peppercorns. But I mean, I know peppercorn ranch.
See, that's where my mind went. I was like,
that's like
I want some wings.
The beginning and the end of my peppercorn experience. So
Wow.
I know it tastes like more.
I took that very differently. I thought it tastes like more. Like I'll have more.
Yes, I heard somebody say it has a very Moorish flavor. Is it a Moorish flavor? Yeah, I want more.
but
Yeah.
No, it is really good though. That's
It's refreshing.
it is
Yeah.
really refreshing.
And what's the ABV on this?
6.5.
Yeah,
No,
so it's not huge.
Right in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Very-
this is
I think
really
I
good.
actually would have ballparked it a little lower, like maybe 5 something.
Well,
I
It's
don't know, I
amazing
can
how more
kinda-
and more of these different beers are coming out that are like higher ABV, but they don't drink like it.
Yeah.
What an age we live in.
What an age. What an age. I would guess that this was above the session ceiling, I would have put it in like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
Depends
I would have thought
who
like
you're
5.3,
sessioning
5.4.
with.
Well, if you're sessioning with Dan, the ceiling's 20. But
Listen, I never got
Barley
above
wine
14.
session.
Okay? What was it, 13 and a half? Mm-hmm. That's my limit, man. Anything over that's not sessionable.
No, 4.5.
Oh,
Right? Now I'm questioning
4.5,
myself.
yes.
4.5.
I don't know. I feel like Lou Bryson and
Call
I are
Lou
going to fight.
Bryson. I think Lou Bryson would win.
throw down.
I'm sorry.
Isn't he into whiskey now?
Yep.
And he moved on.
Good. I'll
He
take
still
over.
drinks beer.
I will take over with beer. Sessionable is now 13 and a half. All right.
Works for me.
All right.
No.
I like that sound clip, by the way. Thank you for doing that.
I'm excited to
That's
try
cool.
these
Keep
other
that.
2 beers, but I just want to drink this one for like
Well, that's
ever.
why you
That
have
is
2
nice.
glasses.
This is so good.
Yeah.
That is
So,
really
Steph,
nice.
you are now pouring the Southern Belle, correct?
Yes, this is the one I've been most excited about.
I'm gonna read the notes because I want to read the notes.
Okay, go for it.
And I'm gonna hog the bottle too. So
Oh my God, smell it.
Hug it. He's hugging it.
hug.
Look at that.
8.7 ABV Imperial Brown Ale, which is brewed with house toasted pecans, not pecans.
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 Picards.
Balanced with a
Gene
selection
Luck
of
Pickard.
yes, balanced with a selection of artificial hearts, complex malts, dark roast, and hints
Malts,
of.
not hearts.
I was just
it was,
gonna say
it was a
What?
mild joke for
A
Wayne.
selection of complex malts, dark roast, and hints of chocolate.
He
with
was
a
trying to make fun of me.
Smooth
Yeah.
finish.
I was trying to go off of the Gene Luck
It's
Pickard
gorgeous.
thing, but,
It's a thick, dark brown color with a tan head, and it smells amazing.
I gotta find it. There it is.
Amazing.
We love you, Mark.
I think he's been on like every episode since he's been on.
He's awesome.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, this smell is phenomenal.
It's got a nice coffee aroma.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really nice.
that smell.
Oh, that smell indeed.
Here we go with that first.
It's nutty. It's coffee. It's malty. It's amazing.
I'm anxious to try it.
You know it smells good when I haven't even taken a sip.
I haven't either.
I almost
Yeah,
like,
it's
do you get like behind like that chocolatey coffee, you get almost like a hint of like vanilla bean.
Yeah.
Probably from the
A little bit of
pecans, yeah.
sweetness. I was thinking like maple syrup, but I could vanilla would work too.
Now to taste it.
Wow, that is a good beer.
Wow.
How do you describe that? Oh, this ain't barrel aged?
Oh, wow, yeah. You would think it definitely has like a bourbon-y character to it.
Oh,
It's
this
so
is
good.
right up the alley of a friend of mine out there, Klaus, the bar. He's like big in. Ooh,
This
man.
tastes like a
Klaus
beer
and
that...
I would get along.
This
Oh,
tastes
yeah,
like a
you
beer
would.
that a
Klaus
Klaus
gets along
would
with
drink.
everybody.
Yeah.
No, this is great. Oh my god.
It's almost, and I don't know if it's the pecans and that mixing with that coffee character,
Pecans.
but it
Almost like a slight woody.
it's like hazelnutish.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a hazelnut from it. Yeah.
And caramelly.
Yeah.
It's got it all in there.
It's good.
Wow, this is really,
is
really,
really,
good.
really
Did you say the ABV on this one or no?
8.7.
All right, it tastes it.
It's big.
Yeah.
This is kind of like two ends
But
of
it's
the
big
spectrum.
enough. It's big enough.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Big enough without being like. Wow.
Like
Like
going
it's
from
it's
the-
not overpowering. It's,
no. I mean,
it's big and you feel it, but it's not like whoa, hold on.
It's,
This is
yeah,
what I wish
it's
barrel
not-
aged
Wait a
beers were
minute.
like.
Wait
Because
up.
sometimes they're too much for me. It's
Yeah.
just too much. fucking minute.
It's not like that.
Really? Really? You had to go there?
Of course.
Thanks.
This is delicious though.
That is. It's really
Oh.
good.
It is really good. And like, these are like two sides of the spectrum. Like
But
the
yet it's not,
nice,
like, not a-
citrusy,
not a-
and then the
You should
know,
mix them.
robust. No, I'm not
No.
gonna, no, that would not be
I
good.
wouldn't mix
Not
those.
a like not a real heavy mouthfeel. It's not like
No, it's and that's what I like. It gives you the complex flavors
Yeah.
of a higher alcohol beer, but still being drinkable and approachable, and
I like the
Tasty.
layers that come out of this.
it's like an onion. It has layers.
Yes.
And it makes you cry.
Peel it.
It makes you cry.
Anywho, yeah. So this one, my notes have gone away. Staff, what is this one?
So this is the third and final beer that I was allowed to purchase since I'm not a club member at the brewery.
Why
at
didn't
3
you
stars.
join the club?
I know I should have.
Come on,
But
man.
this is Pandemic. It is their
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. They limit you to 3 per person.
No, there were only 3 bottles that I was able to purchase.
Damn. Okay, I was gonna say, why didn't Rich get some?
Oh, no, there were only 3 different
Whoa.
beers and bottles that you could
Okay.
purchase, unless you were a member and you could get that black bottle that I wasn't allowed.
Sorry, continue.
So Pandemic is a 9.6% imperial porter,
Oh,
full-bodied and robust, complex with lingering notes of chocolate and roast, an assertive porter with bold, smooth finish.
Do you have to let it linger?
Look at how
Dark
like,
black, dark brown head.
Yes.
Whoa, there's the Imperial. Wow. What?
I'm getting a heavy coffee off the
Oh.
nose.
Not what I was expecting.
Same here. But it's
yeah.
It's
great.
good. It's more on the
Whoa.
sweet side than the malty
It
side.
almost comes through as like a dark sour.
Yes.
It is
Yeah.
has
I
a
was
little
just going to
tart
say
in it.
that. I'm
Yeah.
getting a slight tartness
Yeah.
off that.
Even a little licorice, I think.
This is really
Yeah,
not
a
what I
little bit, yeah.
expected.
a
Even
touch of like star anise, maybe.
Yeah.
not only from the look and not only from the aroma, but this is just out of left field, and we're
It is. I like this. It's not your traditional.
No, it's definitely unique.
It's got the sour without being offensive.
yeah.
And it's weird because it's got that chocolatey coffee and the sour going.
I don't know about you,
Which
but
seems
the
like it would be weird,
nose
but-
on it does not match the taste of
No,
it.
exactly. Yeah, it's out of left field. Like you figure looking at it, okay, it's gonna be a little. I almost figured I'd get like a barrel aged stout out of it. It's like something sort
That's
of
what I was-
bourbon-ish. But that taste is just
Although I get tartness in the nose.
really.
I
You
get
do?
I don't.
Tartness.
I
then
mostly
again,
get
my
bourbon.
Pennsylvania allergies are acting up.
Oh,
So.
that could
Welcome
be,
back to the East. No, this is great.
Yeah.
It's,
Wow, very unique.
It's a way to throw you off. Imagine having this at the end of the night when you're like, just give me what you got. And you think it's one thing and boom, it's another.
yeah.
It's the
I think
old
this
bait
would
and
come
switch.
through even if your palate was wrecked. You
yeah.
would taste
oh,
this.
yeah. It's so pronounced, but it's so good. It's a good thing you guys trained me to like sours. Otherwise, I would hate this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Slowly but
two
surely.
things hanging around with Steph. If you don't like
Chilies
pepper
and
beers
sours.
and sour beers, you will.
Yeah.
I'm never
exactly.
going to come around to the crazy pepper beers. I can't.
You know,
I can't
when
handle
we
it.
Wait,
had-
I leave the table for 2 seconds and you're talking about me?
Yeah.
I brought you up in a good way.
I wasn't going to make reference to the fact that you left the table, but no, I said it's a good thing that I was trained to like sours because otherwise I would hate this because it comes through as a sour in the end.
It has
Slightly.
a nice
Slightly.
It's just, I wouldn't even call it sour. It's just
But
a
it's
slight
it's
tartness.
It's a
Tartness,
tartness
yeah.
that kind of it's reminiscent of all those sours.
A mild amount of tartness is sour to Dan. He's still.
This is true.
Listen, I'm getting there. Okay, I officially said I like them. All right,
He's still building
you
up.
got me.
Of the 3, the Southern Belle is
We're
my
getting a
favorite.
thumbs up from the audience.
I love having an audience.
Me too.
Southern Belle of these 3 is my favorite.
I didn't know we were on favorites yet.
Well, I'm just telling you right now.
Steph brought it up. I really like the Southern Belle, but I got to go with the Saison. Out of those, I would go back and buy bottles of that Saison.
Yeah,
I'd
well,
buy,
you
like-
love Saisons.
I'd buy 2 bottles of the Saison and one of the Southern Belle.
You talking about a Saison is like me talking about a pepper beer.
Pretty much.
It's true. That's true. I think I got to go with you. Wow, I'm going to start that sentence over.
That was a sentence.
At some point, it tried to be, and then no. I got to go with Steph. The Southern Belle does it for me. I mean, out of these 3 that we had,
It's one of those beers that I was so excited to try, and it actually lived up to my expectations. Sometimes I look forward to having a beer, and I'm like, yeah, it was good, but your expectation was a little higher. And I really
reality
loved it.
versus expectations.
Reality lived up.
I like it a lot. I like all these.
I like it a
I'm
lot.
sorry, Greg. Please.
I may make people pass out with this statement, and Steph knows my love of Saisons, and this is a nice Saison, but I got to agree about that Southern Belle.
Yeah.
That is just spot on. That is just so nice.
I'm not going to pass out, but I do have a touch of the vapors.
I'm verklempt. Talk now.
All right, Lucille too.
So there is one more beer,
Is there?
Oh.
Wait, what?
but I'm only opening it if somebody comes to the table to tell
Oh,
us
that's
about
right.
it.
Oh,
Yes.
oh!
Bonus beer, and I'm excited for this one too.
You better.
This is why we should not have done favorites yet. God damn it, Steph.
Well, I
Well, we
only
didn't do favorites.
I only
We did
wanted to do
favorites,
favorites of the
out of
commercial
these 3.
beers.
Okay, all right,
So-
all right.
You
that's
can
fair.
choose.
If I can say this, he was one of the people that I met getting back here to the first
Homebrew Club,
Burke's
yeah.
Homebrew Club meetings, and I will say I was very impressed at that table that night with the amount of knowledge sitting at that table and the amount of very professional tasting beer that I had that night that people brought with them from
We have
Berks
awesome
County,
members.
Pennsylvania. I'm talking everything, Saisons. That wasn't that the night they did. What was the throwdown they did? Didn't they do a pumpkin beer throwdown that night?
I don't even remember. It was so long ago.
The pumpkin beers, and then there was a Saison throwdown.
Yeah, we
But-
love doing throwdowns.
Oh man!
Only
but I'll tell
because
you
I
what,
actually won mine.
I was impressed with the amount of knowledge and the quality, and it just seeing that grow here. It's got to happen.
So if you don't mind sliding your mic over a little
Yeah, I was
bit.
gonna
Not
say if
at
you
all.
can shift that over slightly.
You guys can both come through on that. Like if you put it between you guys, it picks up
Yes.
pretty wide, so you could probably both be good.
I know your ears good.
Yeah,
Volume good.
It's a little loud. Ooh,
And then there's that. It's like, oh my god.
nice.
All right.
So,
Stepping up to the plate.
joining us at the table this evening,
Yes. Why don't you tell our listeners
Who you
who
are.
you are?
Who I am. All right.
Who's your daddy and what does he do?
Who's my daddy? What do I do? Ronald McDonald, stepping up to the plate. All right. Yeah, Ron McDonald, one of Steph's Burke's Homebrew Club members.
That's right.
Friend of Steph
right.
and Rich. Your
And they
ta-
live close by too, which
Yes.
is really
Even
cool.
better.
So we like to go on brew ventures with Ron and his wife Jen,
Awesome.
who's also here in the audience.
Yay.
And by the way, Jen loves sour beers. loves.
So you must be happy I'm finally coming around to that world. All right, cool. At least there's one person who's happy.
You're not annoying her as much.
So Ron, tell us what you brought with.
I brought. Actually, this is one of the first homebrews that I ever did. One of the reasons I started homebrewing was because I started drinking craft beers, got into sour beers, really liked sour beers, but they were hard to find at the time, very expensive. And I thought, wow, I can actually brew these myself. So I started brewing them myself, and this is actually the first sour beer that I brewed. It's a in the lambic tradition with peaches. This was for my lovely wife Jennifer. Brewed it for her. And actually, this is brewed back in 2011. So
Oh wow!
Wow.
It's got some legs.
it's got some legs. Yeah.
That type of patience.
Good question.
Knowing it's sitting there and you can just walk past it.
Well, it's been bottled for several years, but there were probably 50 bottles when I bottled it, and so they've
Dwindled.
slowly dwindling away. Right?
It smells great.
It's
This
so
is.
pretty too.
Oh, it is. It's
It like
beautiful.
it kind of smells like a Jolly Rancher in a way.
The carbonation is so
See, all right,
energetic.
good. I'm not alone.
No, I'm definitely
Like those
getting
bubbles
that.
are just like dancing around in
Yeah.
there. It's so
I
awesome.
just love the color.
So I bought a kit.
Ooh.
I had
It is.
this was
It's
probably like
liquid
the
Jolly Ranchers is amazing.
Yep.
But
Sorry, we tasted it before you got to talk.
It's
Keep
like
interrupting.
that. I'm so sorry to cut you off. It's like that sour apple Jolly Rancher,
Yeah.
but then there's peach.
yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it was the second homebrew that I did. I bought a
Wow.
kit from Annapolis Homebrew. It was a peach lambic. It was actually pretty simple. It was actually the now I'm drawing a blank.
We have that effect on people.
Come on the show after we've given you 6
Yeah,
beers.
after
Yeah, right.
6 beers. Yeah, that was pretty. I bought the kit. It was basically a pretty simple beer to brew, and then it was basically a waiting game.
It's a hell of a waiting game for 3 years, 4
Throw,
years.
throw those buggers in there and let them
just
go
let
to
'em do
work.
their
Yeah.
thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is. Whew.
This is really good.
Now I'm really glad I was trained to like sours.
Well, and this isn't like it's not hugely puckery or jowly, which is nice.
Right.
I like beers like
You
that
just
too.
get a little bit of the.
But yeah,
the
it's
puckering back.
exactly.
Some
And
of the
it's-
beers that Jen drinks, they like. Ooh! It
Wow.
pushes your face back.
like you're like drooling, like
Yes.
yeah.
You can't control your
It's
saliva.
like super salivation.
This
yeah.
is so good. But Jolly
is really
Rancher
good.
is the perfect.
It is. Yeah.
explanation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there-
Absolutely.
Good job, Dan.
Is there a peach Jolly Rancher? There isn't.
There should be.
There is now.
There is now.
It's in
Yeah.
liquid form. Yep.
Dear Jolly Ranchers, have you considered peach?
Have you considered? That's what you should call this.
Have you considered?
Have you considered peach?
Yeah. Yes, there is a peach Jolly Rancher.
Is there really?
Yes. This is the perfect way to end this
Yeah,
episode.
I do really like this. Yeah.
We started out earthy and fruity and hoppy. Then we got a little spicy.
Yeah. We've really had a good array of different beers tonight.
did.
Yeah.
We have run the gamut.
Yeah. No.
For sure. Now we're
A
ending.
palate challenge this evening.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Makes mouths happy.
Indeed.
I'm loving it. I'm sorry. I had to.
Hold the pickles. Hold the lettuce.
There was an old Lithuanian neighbor of mine from the neighborhood I grew up in, and he used to refer to beer as the amber fluid of salvation.
Nice. I like it.
I'm soaking that in for a second. That's really good.
That's
Those words
deep
of
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Ron, you also have a special name for your brewery, your home brewery, correct?
Yeah. We moved recently to Berks County. House sits up on a hill, so christened the brewery McDonald Mountain Brewery.
I like
That's
it.
cool.
I like it.
There's actually a McDonald Mountain in New York State.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Spelled the same as your last name?
Well, McDonald. How many different ways can
Yeah.
you spell it? 2 N's, 2 L's, with an E, with an A. It's not spelled exactly the same, but
Close enough.
Very cool.
close enough.
Is there a brewery there?
I don't know.
If
We'll
not,
have
there
to make
should
a
be.
trip.
Better lock that man in
There's-
quick. Get a
There's another road
website.
trip. Yeah, get the website.
Yeah. If you got the website, you're fine.
Yeah,
That's all you need. I think it was fair that we picked our favorites of the commercial beers.
Yep.
Because
We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
yeah, I don't know.
All the home brews were great.
Oh, of course, yeah. Although I will say your smoked Bock, because it's a Steph beer, like after like about a pint of that, I kind of be like, yeah, I'm gonna have to switch to something else because it's starting to hurt.
It's not the kind of beer that you're intended to drink a lot of.
Right, yeah.
Right.
I'll tell you what. While I was sitting in the audience, I took the Rauch beer and Steph's pepper beer and did a
mixed
little
Ooh,
blend.
a half and half?
That was really good.
Yeah, I actually saw you did that, and
Yeah.
I did that in one of my.
So-
Oh,
my
I
cups
did
here, and
not
it was,
do that.
It was pretty good.
I have to
Probably
try that.
gave you a taste for. Did you have her jalapeno?
Yes,
Ralph?
I actually had it at the homebrew meeting.
Okay.
I think he's had
This week,
almost
yes.
Yeah.
probably everything I've brewed since I've been a member of the club. Because you and I regularly attend pretty
Yes.
much every
Yeah.
meeting.
I had a sort of vertical of that because you had a batch that you had brewed sort of recently. For those who can't see, Steph is making fun of me at the moment. You had a batch that was brewed fairly freshly, and then one that was like a year or so old. And I actually preferred the older one because the heat had really mellowed out.
That's what you gave me.
Yeah.
You gave me the year bottle aged.
And I really like that.
Yeah, it definitely does mellow.
It blunts the edge, and I liked it. Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Well, you
restrain.
brew the beers you want to drink. I mean,
I know, but I
you're
like to
homebrewed.
share
You
them
can brew
too.
whatever
And
you want.
I want people to love pepper beers and
Yeah.
to see that they can be delicious and amazing even without the heat. There are some really great pepper beers out there that aren't hot at all.
Yeah.
Like Alaskan just did a jalapeno IPA. It wasn't hot at all. I would have loved it even more if it would have been spicy, but it had the pepper flavor.
It's that time of year for it. It's like, you got summer barbecues coming up, and that pairs up so well.
Yeah.
As the weather gets warm, your beer heats up. Yeah.
That sounds like the start of an awesome commercial.
That does.
Yeah.
That's
For Hefner Brewing Company.
It's finally springtime, man. Wow.
Oh, there goes the radio voice.
Yep. Well, there's been a lot of great beer. No. Wow. No, there seriously have been a lot of good beers tonight.
Yeah.
Yes,
This, oh
for
my
sure.
God.
This is an awesome.
Man, these homebrews were great. I mean, that just goes to show what.
Look at all the cork and cages on the table.
I
by the
know.
way.
There's
Which is
even
nice.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, these.
I found a new top 5 favorite saison.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the great homebrews that we have here, running the gamut of flavors. You have the 3 commercial ones that we have here, and just the fact that they can fool you so
and let's
easily.
not forget
in
we
a
drank
good way.
some Schlenkerla as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
yeah.
There was that one, the bacon
Yeah,
beer. Because Steph is too afraid to eat real bacon, she has to have that beer.
Whatevs.
Yeah. Wow, it's just been.
I bet you her colon is a lot cleaner than yours.
But my colon is happier.
What?
You can cut that out.
The happy colon. It's a new children's book, The Happy Colon.
Oh, God.
It's kind of like there's a book, Everybody Poops, and then
Narrated by Peter Pollack.
and then there's the super conservative version, which is Nobody
Nobody
poops
poops.
but you.
All right, McFarlane.
Sorry.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez. We've also had some beers that are known to.
We had a couple of high ones.
Known to make your motor functions go to hell.
Yeah.
Whew. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun.
It was. Not bad for winging it.
Yeah,
Not at
that's
all.
right. Yeah, thank you for bailing us out here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Whew. Well, that unfortunately brings us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters Podcast. And I know. Well, that just means you have to come back.
That's right.
That's all
will
that means.
Gladly, anytime.
And next time we'll call Colorado and get your boys from Chain
Yeah,
Reaction on the phone.
we'll get them set up.
1-800-Colorado. Greg, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
Ron, thank you for donating your beer as well. It was
You're
Great
welcome.
stuff.
amazing.
Enjoyed it.
As always, I am Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and, of course, our from entertainer, Wade Baker. And he has to whisper that. As usual, no squids were harmed in the making this no squids were harmed in the making of this episode, but some beer busters were. We'll see you next time.
Everybody run, the mill exploded.